Ric Flair got released from WWE. It was jointly reported by Wrestling Inc. and Fightful Select that Ric Flair had been released had been negotiating his release and now been granted his release from the WWE. And there were a lot of things that went into this. So Flair was apparently upset, or he was disagreeing with the creative direction that his character was going. A report from Dave Meltzer said that Flair hadn't taken issue with the way his daughter had been booked recently, his daughter being Charlotte Flair, and even texted McMahon directly about it. And apparently, Ric Flair's release was also a McMahon decision. And WWE have now come to terms release on Ric Flair. Unlike the past, they have not wished him well in his future endeavors. They've just said, we've come to terms on a release with Ric Flair. So this is more of you would think, a mutual parting of ways from both parties. 16-time world champion Ric Flair, Hall of Famer, gone. What do you make of Ric Flair's creative disagreements and him just getting this release?
I mean, it makes sense that he would have creative disagreements. I hated with how they were using him with the whole Flair and what's her name gimmick.
Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans.
I hate it. Oh, I hated it. It was so dumb. It was so dumb. But it I mean it is what it is. It's has WWE written all over it. But I don't blame him. I don't like the way they're booking Charlotte. I didn't like what they were doing with him. I mean, even though he wasn't wrestling, but I didn't like what they were doing with him either. Like I would have asked for my release too. Like, especially if you don't like the direction of the company. Like, I mean, why not? Like, you've done everything you could possibly do in wrestling. Like, you really need to be signed to WWE.
Yeah, and look, it's worth to note, there's a few sides to this. Yes, Flair was upset with a little bit of the creative direction of the company. He also released a statement on Twitter where he says, right here, I am officially able to respond to all of the press related to my requested release from WWE, which they have given me. I want to make it clear that with everyone, I will fix all of this in post, by the way. With everyone, that I am not upset with WWE at all. They solely are responsible for putting me in the position of life that I'm in right now, where I'm seen in the brightest light ever. We have a different vision for my future. I wish them nothing but continued success. Thank you for everything. Nothing but respect. So interesting words there to end it right there from Ric Flair. Trevor, it's for me. It's kind of. I'm glad that this was kind of Bray Wyatt's thing. I'm glad that this was kind of like Ric Flair's thing. That he's like said, yeah, okay, this is. I kind of want to go in a different direction. He didn't like the whole Lacey Evans stuff. He didn't like, the way that Charlotte's been booked. A lot of people probably agree with both of those things. And look, the storyline with Lacey Evans, not good, not great. 73-year-old man claiming, like, you're implying that he's the father of Lacey Evans' child, and it's not that great.
Good story, no.
It's weird. It's really weird. But look,
young all over again.
He's been released. And now I think this is more of a situation where Flair probably wanted to do a lot more independent stuff, make more money there, because Flair loves his limelight. He loves the spotlight. He loves to be out there with fans. I think that this could possibly lead, and you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going with this.
Trevor, AEW already has Arn Anderson. AEW already has Tully Blanchard. Put him up with me. Do you think we could see a little bit of a reunion of the Four Horsemen in AEW?
That would be very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's funny. I had this conversation with some people over the weekend, and they said the same thing. I was like, that would be great. It'd be interesting. It'd be a lot of fun to see. And I could see Flair doing behind the scenes work at AEW. But I mean, that way, if he did it, like, he would be able to freely do like his indie shows, like he loves to do, and be in the limelight. So I mean, that would be interesting to see, very interesting to see. Because the rumor was there were going to be a Four Horsemen style faction. I mean, we got it with the Pinnacle, but that was the rumor for a long time anyway.
Yeah, and look, it's not only just about having about a potential reunion and Flair being there and AEW probably allowing him to do more than WWE would. The other thing that I think plays into this is AEW have not made it have made it clear that they like having legends backstage and signing these legends in the role that they're in because they serve as kind of coaches for the younger people. Cody specifically talked about this recently in an interview he did where he talked about having Jake Roberts, having Arn Anderson, having Tully Blanchard backstage for these young people, for these young wrestlers, it's so important because the history of wrestling is literally at their fingertips. If they're confused about anything, you can go ask Arn Anderson. You can go ask Tully Blanchard, Dean Malenko, Jake Roberts, the king of wrestling psychology. You can go ask them about like what might work, what might not work. And these guys have been there, tried and tested everything that there is in wrestling. They'll tell you immediately what will work and what won't, and they know it. And if you add Ric Flair to that bunch, who's just backstage hanging out, Sting is also there. I think that it just seems like a good backstage environment that Flair would like because he would get the shine, he would get, and it's also like he would get to kind of be involved a little bit in an indirect way, be a little bit of a coach, and I think that's what they like. That's what they like in AEW, and I like that whole environment they're fostering.
I totally agree. I mean, like you said, like what better way to learn history than hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you have so many veterans back there you can talk to. It's smart on Tony Khan's part. You know what I mean? And Cody Rhodes' part. I think it's a great idea, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Flair after this. What direction he goes with his career.
Yeah, and look, I think Flair and AEW would be interesting because, like, look, there's influence there too. Arn Anderson,
yeah,
and Sting and Tully Blanchard, like Jake Roberts. These are not just like the TNA hires. These are people who legitimately believe in the company. Are actually part of the company's biggest storylines. Some of them. So it's not like this is in no way the way like Ric Flair would go to TNA because he wouldn't go there to wrestle. AEW knows better to let a 73-year-old Ric Flair wrestle. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.